Today we're taking a whack at adding a new battery to our solar array. So we have 2 batteries, we're going to add a third, and we're going to take you along on the journey. So come on and join us. So we've got 2 Optima batteries, and what I'm going to do, we're going to add a third battery. So it's kind of like we started down a road with these, and now we're kind of stuck on this road unless we want to buy all new batteries, because we need to have 3 batteries that are the same. So we can't have different capacity for the battery, anything. So we need to have the same. So that's why I bought a third one of these. Truth be told, this slide gets stuck almost every time I take it out. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to disconnect the batteries, and then I'm going to take the slide apart and remove it, and then see if I can actually fit 3 batteries in here. So that's our first step. So I'm zip tying these right now, just so that I have an easy way to remember which wires go where once I get everything disconnected.
Will you take a picture?
Yeah, I'll take a picture too.
You did?
Yeah, I did. When I was swapping emails with Solar. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just kill power to the entire truck camper before I dig into this. So we'll see if Noelle will throw the big red switch for us. My challenge in here has been pretty much every time I slide this out, it gets stuck when I try to push it back in. So there's a lot of cables back here. Oh yeah, you can even see on this one line here, it's a little bit scuffed up. So really my idea at this point is I'm going to try to just take this sled out, position one battery back here, one battery up here. Because I'm about to add even more wires to this mess. So as far as my tangle issue, it's going to get worse, not better. So I'm okay just to have stuff stationary here. So I think these are anchoring that sled in place. Hopefully this will just lift out now. Or not. Oh, there's more back here. All right. So really my question here is there a way to fit a third battery in there? I don't think so. We're going to try. So despite my maneuverings, I'm not going to be able to fit a third battery in here. So what I'm going to do is I have to run these in parallel, the batteries. So we'll call this 1. Battery under the sink will be 2, and this will be 3. So I need to run a parallel line from number 1 to number 2, then number 2 to number 3. All right. I'm going to leave that slider out. It was just a pain in the ass. So I'll get some kind of heavy foam over here or something after we're all done to keep these from sliding around. But I think this will be much easier than that wonky slider tray. So Noel had the good idea turning these sideways. Since they're AGM and they're sealed, orientation doesn't matter. So maybe it's not the ideal orientation, but they'll work this way. So let me get the third battery and see if it'll fit right here.
Hi.
Hey.
Where the host is? At that building. Yeah, on the back side of it. That store down there.
So I was thinking about it with my third battery here. Yeah, I can make it fit. My connections are crazy tight here, but then it's also the recognition I've got other things I'm about to wire into here as well. So I don't know that, I think like maybe for today I could make it work, but I don't know that it's going to work 2 steps from now. So I think I'm going to go back and turn these sideways and then go with my other plan of the battery 1, battery 3 here, battery 2 in the middle. So I need to wire number 2 in for parallel. So Noel is off in search of a different colored sealant. I'm cutting our wires to make parallel connections. So I'm using 2 AWG. I know that because that's what the solar guys told me to buy. Somehow, even though I told the solar guys like I was adding a third battery, maybe it didn't really resonate for them that I was adding a third battery. So I didn't actually they didn't originally give me anything for any wire to actually hook up a third battery or connectors. So I just went on my own and bought them from a store here that I'm familiar with. So I have not used, I've done, reasonable amount of wiring in the past, but I've never used connectors like this. I think they call them lugs. So I'm going to put the lug on, then I'm going to put it in a little device I'll show you, and then I'm going to hammer it so we have a real solid connection. Before I do that, I will put on 2 heat shrink wraps on here. Because I'm going to use those after I get the lugs put on. So I got to put these on before the lugs. Alright, so lug, there's my wire. I can put it up here, I can, like, a little safety spot, so I have room to maneuver down here. Put this, that's my desired spot. Drop that down. Now, my hammer. Alright, now I've got a connection. Nice connection. Let's see if this will slide up. Yep. Sliding up nicely. And we're going to hit it with the heat gun. There we go. Quick and easy. Now I'll do the other end. Well, it's been a few hours. I ended up realizing that I was using, the shrink stuff here, like rolling it down like it was a big old condom. And actually, I only needed to use like half of it. So I've got like 5 inches of the shrink here, and I could have used 2.5. So I actually ran out. So I had to run to Ace Hardware and get some more. And then as well, I ran out of the clips. I think I was just lugs. I think I was counting like I'm gonna have 4 parallel lines, so I need 4 connectors, but good math tells us I actually need 8, one for each end. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole through, there's like a battery box, I'll show you. There's a battery box, I'm gonna drill 2 holes through that so that I have somewhere to run my wires. So that's our next step. So this is my battery box from the inside. So now I'm going to drill a couple holes, I think down here. That way I have somewhere else I can run wires through. So this may be driven more by what I can reach than maybe ideally where I would want to put them. So we'll give it a whirl. I was just thinking, I took the stuff out here. Maybe I can actually pop these 4 screws off, pull this out, and I'd have a better shot. Let's try that. Well, I tell you, if this is the easy part that I'm doing right now, I'm not really anxious for the hard part. So my hope is by this little semi-worthless cabinet, shelf, whatever you want to call it, I'm hoping that it'll just, when I take these 4 screws out, that it will pop out, and then I would have a straight shot right behind me to the battery box. That's my hope. So I've had a lot of back and forth communication with AM Solar. So far they've been pretty helpful as far as nurse baiting me or holding my hand or whatever you want to call it. I was really apprehensive on this first section to make sure that I got it right. So I think I was telling you I was actually putting together diagrams to send them to make sure that I knew exactly where each cable was going to go. Okay, all right, here we go. So it's our battery box. So one of the things I actually debated, now I can see that it wouldn't have worked. I was debating like punching out the back of the battery box and pulling it back because I knew I had space back here. But actually down here, you can see we have water lines, and then here I have some kind of, looks like a gas line running there. So literally there's no room for me to move this back any further. I suppose I could do, we could do some kind of like little step up, but I don't really want to mess with that right now. Oh look, it's land lost and found. Sailing La Vagabond. These are some people we follow on Patreon and YouTube. You can do us a solid and follow us on both Patreon and YouTube. We would truly appreciate it. All right, so I think I'm going to drill some holes. keeping my wire length in mind. Oh, that's the of it now. So if I go down here. Okay, so I drilled a hole back here, and other side of this is our batteries. So now I should be able to run from battery right here up and over. I liked the idea of coming down here. I mean, for ease of use for me, it made sense to drill here, but I hadn't really planned on doing that, so I've already cut all of my wires at 18 inches. So I'd end up eating at least a foot and a half almost getting to this point. So sticking with this spot down here allows me to stick with the original plan. £53. So I've got 2 negative connections. Negative there. And negative there. So I fed the wires through. I've already got the negatives attached and they're fine. Now when I'm feeding the positives through, I'm actually about a foot short. So I need to make a run to the hardware store and get more lugs, and then I can cut more wires. Well, it's been an hour since we talked. I went back to the hardware store again, and I made longer wires to use for the parallel lines, so parallel connections. So we'll try this again.
You know what?
I know nothing.
Yeah, you do. Why did it do that?
What did it do? Well, I may have shorted it out a bit. Just being a little fat-fingered.
Why? What does that mean?
Oh, I dropped the wrench and went across the 2 leads.
How'd you get it out?
I used the pen. Yeah. I left a big load of shit in my shorts, yeah. Yeah. Based on the diagram that I put together and AM Solar went over, I've got this wired correctly now. So I've got it wired, everything's tightened down. I'm going to turn the main power back on our breaker. See what happens. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, so I'm pretty frustrated. What I did was I undid everything that I did today. So we're now back for a battery configuration that we started out the day with before I did anything. And it's working fine. So something in how I configured the batteries today, how I did the setup, was wrong. And after seeing sparks fly like literally like 2 or 3 times, I kind of decided maybe the best thing for me to do today was to just stop. I'm tired, it's been a long day. I thought I had it hooked up correctly. At least I sure thought I hooked it up the way that the tech and I from AM Solar had agreed, but maybe not. So literally I disconnected everything. All the wires I ran today, I pulled them out, and tomorrow I'll try the exact same setup again, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Fingers crossed. It's a new day. I took a day off yesterday from the electrical work on the camper. It was really hot yesterday, it was around 100, and I was pretty frustrated. So I thought, well, take a breather. So I went back and I watched the video that I shot. Like, what do I see that maybe I did something wrong? It looks to me like I reversed like my plan of positive on 1, negative on 3. Looks to me like I did negative on 3, positive on 1. I think this is just, it should not matter at all. Like 1 and 3 are kind of interchangeable as far as what they are. But just make sure I'm following this exactly, and maybe I fat fingered something else. I'm gonna go back today and I'm gonna redo the whole thing that I did the other day. Safety step, just in case I fat fingered again, I covered this guy with electrical tape. Yes, I know there's shit you can dip these into. I don't have any of that shit here. So I'm just kind of using what we have. So this is kind of our plan for today. We're gonna drop the camper and then I'll take a whack at the electrical again. It's a weekday, so hopefully if I have a problem I can just reach out by phone and talk to the folks at AM Solar. Keep you posted. So I just reconnected the batteries, and so it looks like we have battery power. So this is good. So I'm on AGM, that's what I wanted. Coming in, battery 1. I think I have it wired correctly, but I'm not positive. Well, power came back on, which is good. The other day when I did this, it was telling me that I had a broken circuit. So it was giving me an error code of like B01, which means not charging. So today when I have this wired, it's not giving me that error. Everything inside has lit back up, but I'm really not clear what I should see for a difference on my charge controller, because it looks exactly the same to me. So I took a bunch of pictures. I'll send them off to the guys at AM Solar, guys and gals, I guess, not just guys. I'll send them off to the folks at AM Solar and make sure they're doing well. So I think I'm done with this part here. So if I get the blessing from those folks, then I'll move on to our next step. But for today I'm just gonna close it up, put the power back on so we can have air conditioning in a few hours.